Hello, Dr. Chong. I hope you in the pink of health. Here is our presentation based on the article review.
I'm Hazira Pititami, so I will start with introduction.
Nowadays, the development of society is trying to improve the human interaction in the social differentiation, reduction of all forms of inequality, and the elimination of discrimination. Despite the significant progress that has been made towards achieving gender equality in the world of work, certain factors seem to prevent it from accelerating. In the world of work, we can face a lot of form inequality and discrimination against workers such as gender, age, and health. To prevent inequality and discrimination cases increasing toward workers, the solution needs to be implemented at the international stages. The solution to these problems is needed for improving the state employment policy, especially to the elimination of gender inequality and discrimination against workers based on age and health. By eliminating the inequality and discrimination, it will create good conditions of work for different levels of the population not employed. It also helps reducing the impact of negative trends within the restriction of the labor market. Gender inequality in the labor market is one of the most pressing challenges facing the world of work today. Globally, most women are substantially less likely than men to participate in the labor market and once in the workforce. They are also less likely to find jobs than men. Indeed, their access to quality employment opportunities remains restricted. It is because of some factors that have been monopolizing the gender gaps, such as having a spouse or partner reduce the probability for women to participate in the labor market, or religions embody a complex system of values that extends to gender roles. In developing countries, the probability to participate is substantially reduced by religion, a proxy indicator for more restrictive gender role conformity. Next up is the discrimination based on health problem. Currently, the problem to educate and employment of people with disabilities are urgent matter in worldwide. For example, the low level of employment among the disabled people was caused by few factors such as deterioration of the labor market situation, the existence of binding size of monthly payments to the degree of restrictions of the ability to work efficiently and the imperfection of the legal regulation employment of disabled people. Employing disabled people is quite complicated not only because of market relations, but also caused by the lack of clear-cut policy. Right now, the employment situation of people with disabilities has become more complicated because of the elimination job quotas in small and medium enterprises where disabled employers usually work. There are few countries try to overcome this situation by giving more opportunities to employ disabled people, thought refusing to employ disabled people and paying negligible fines is more profitable for the employees. Meanwhile, the advanced countries are focusing their concentrates on removing barriers of integration disabled people into society. Advanced countries try to replace the rehabilitation system by focusing on adaptation, education, and integration people with special abilities into public life from early childhood. Besides, it will reduce the list of persons falling under the category disabled people. It also improves economic efficiency. The solution for problems of people with special abilities was not priority in social state policy up until now. As a result, we have negative trends of the development, social services, and integration of disabled into society. All of it caused by the established system of interaction disabled people and society that has been built on the principles of isolation and compensation.
Greetings to Dr. Chong. My name is Elviani Solokin. Now I will explain about background. Discrimination and inequality indeed arise in the labor market, and as a result, some groups suffered. Discrimination occurs when people with similar economic characteristics experience different economic outcomes because of their race, sex, or other non-economic characteristics. Based on the target, discrimination can be divided into several types, such as age, genders, and health discrimination. Age discrimination, as an individual is treated unfairly because he or she belongs to a certain age range. For example, in Malaysia, teenagers are always considered people who cause problems until the term teenage problems arises. As for genders, individuals are given unfair treatment because their gender, which is a man or a woman. For example, women workers receive lower wage than men, even though their contribution in the employment sector are the same. In the case of health issue, the treatment given to individuals is unfair as it may be because they have previously experienced or suffered from certain diseases or disabilities. This can be seen as when someone who once suffers from mental illness has been rejected to fill a particular position, even though he has recovered and has the necessary abilities. Discrimination impedes both socioeconomic progress and individual development. Racial discrimination is one of the major problems facing the world today at such a large scale. This issue based on the diversity of human race has long been a serious issue or problem that should get more attention from the world government and society itself. Racial discrimination has been around for centuries and always met with action that drives slavery, social discrimination, segregation, and racial violence, including genocide, as ever. In Russia, there are 30.2 million people with disabilities. Employment among people with disability groups is very low at only 8%. The low employment rate of the disabled people is due to the deteriorating labor market condition in general, the existence of monthly payment measures that attend to the level of restrictions on the abilities to work, and the imperfections of the employment laws of the disabled. To coordinate social differentiations, reduce all forms of inequality, and eliminate discrimination in the development of modern society aimed at enhancing the mechanisms of human interaction is essential and established. Inequality is an unbalanced issue caused by several factors such as demographic, where in the most developed countries there is aging of the population, while in developing countries there is rapid growth. The global TFR, total fertility rate, population is 2.5 children born per woman. In developing countries, this rate is 1.7 children born per woman, which is much lower than normal reproductive levels, and in developing and most developing countries, this rate is around 2.8 until 5.1 children born per woman. In developing countries that have higher fertility rates, result in different negative effects, namely high gender inequality, deteriorating health among women and children, and youth unemployment. The death rate is higher for developed countries than the fertility rate for many years, which has resulted in a reduction in manpower. Change in the age distributions of these population can be seen in several countries such as Germany, Japan, and Russia. In Germany, 25% of people aged 65. In Japan, it is almost 30%, and in Russia, it is 60%. In gender inequality in the labor market can be seen when the position of women in the socio-economic field is lower. Thus, in the United Nations Millennium Declarations, the ultimate goals of human development is determined, and one of them is the elimination of gender inequality. In age-based inequality, this occurs among adolescents and people approaching retirement age. To open up opportunities for retirees and the elderly, the development of vocational training, the training program together is created. Motivational development for pre-retirement workers and retired seniors is also carried out. Problems will be limited by delivering a message on the importance of fostering the spirit of togetherness to achieve unity and unity of the nation, socializing information on discrimination, and providing more information on laws, regulation, and legal action prepared by the government by holding a fictional events with the aim of encouraging the spirit of togetherness.
Okay, very good morning. My name is Muhammad Shahlan bin Masran, and I'm going to present about evaluations of the article Discriminations and Inequality of the Labor Market. Okay. How great the impact of discriminations and inequality in the labor force affects the economic performance and growth. Okay, the main highlight of this study is about the labor gender inequality and discrimination based on gender, age, and health. In terms of gender inequality, the study shows that the gender inequality in the labor market is explained as follows. The scholars study how eliminations of gender inequality is going to define and affects human development. To provide equal gender representative on women and men, human capital investment must be aligned according to the gender group. This will bring good impact on the labor structure due to equal economic resources. In addition, the scholar shows the gender inequalities in most countries are typical. This has happened because of the value of women placed on a lower socio-economic, and when human capital ranked by gender, which is in the case of Russia, it is not relevant. Okay, the past study, the scholar stated that women labor activity has a high intensity, in which that the Russian women have both capabilities of doing household work as an employee and as an employee in the labor market. According to the study, Russian women has the highest level education as compared to men, which are approximately about 54.6% portions of women, while men are about 45.4%. Also, in secondary education, women are far more educated than men, with 58.5%. On the other hand, men are said to be strongly prevalent among both professional and general education. The discrimination of health. The second main point highlighted in the study is about discrimination based on health. The population sample for the study was the issues related to the education and employment of persons with disabilities is very important. General changes to challenge in an attitude towards disability and persons with disabilities. In Russia, as 13.2 million people with disabilities, more than 9% of the population, of about 6.6 million people with disabilities can work, but only 50% of them can find employment. According to various estimates, the number of workers with disabilities ranges from 460 to 914,000. The first and second group of people with disabilities are typically only 8% less employed. The study finds various reasons for such low employment among people with disabilities, such as deterioration of the labor market situations in general, existing of binding size of monthly payments, to the degree of restriction of the ability to work, and imperfection of the legal regulation employment of disabled people. Okay. Factor number 2 is age-based. Factor number 3 is age-based inequalities, expressed in two ways, which is youth employment and people close to retirement age. For youth employment, rate around the world is significant part of the overall unemployment rate, same in Russia. The recent global economic crisis, in combination with profound changes in labor market structure, shifted youth unemployment to the top of the political agenda after alarming reports on surging youth unemployment rates and growing risk of young people becoming economically and socially marginalized, and concurrently increasing attention was paid to so-called NEETs, means young people not in the employment, educations, or training. Okay, the number 2 is people close to retirement age. In the Russian Federation, according to official data, employment of older people is growing since 2002 and now covers about a quarter of all people of retirement age. Especially, a lot of older workers are employed in such fields as science, education, health, and social services. With the increasing number of older people, it is necessary to elaborate the social policy of using human resources on the labor market. The law sets a retirement age which forces women to quit their job 5 years earlier than men, despite their advanced age. The discriminatory policy is a factor that prevents women from hiring, promoting their careers, and investing in them. Hence, in order to increase employment opportunities for early retirement and retirement citizens, it is necessary to implement the following measures, which is development of training program and vocational training for these groups, development of motivation for employment, pre-retirement, and retirement age citizen, organizations of specialized job fairs, and implementations of measures to prevent age discriminations in the labor market. So, in conclusion, discrimination and inequality in the labor market. Discrimination and inequality in the labor market based on gender, age, and health status within potential labor supply cuts could adversely affect the state's economic performance. Therefore, the study has proposed few things to reduce inequality and discriminations in the labor market and increase the workforce of social groups. This study has shown that reducing the rate of inequalities increase increases quality of life and professional activity, and reduces unemployment rates and social discrimination. Thank you. That's all from me.
Good evening and salam sejahtera to Dr. Chong and my fellow friend. Thank you for my friend present before. Okay, my part is solution. My name is Hidayat bin Abdul Latif. My metric number is YE 20181017. Okay, firstly, for the solution, next. Okay, firstly we will talk about how to faces this problem and make solution for this problem. To solve the discrimination and inequality problem in the labor market, to take the following measure, which is increase control of regulation, enforcement in the prevention of any type of discrimination in the labor market, and don't create any gap between men, women, or disability people. Okay. Next. Okay, this is a type of solution I make for control this discrimination. Okay, first is increase control of regulation enforcement in the prevent of any type of discrimination in the labor market. Okay, as a baby boomer shift into the retirement age, the population is aging. Beside of the forecast number of the people over 65 year old is expected to rise by 60%. Expected demographic change threatens serious supply reduction in the labor market next 2 decades, which is in result can affect the economic growth. Therefore, there is a need to increase control of regulation enforcement in the prevention of any type of discrimination in the labor market. Finding a balance between protecting worker and allocating labor to its most productive use a key priority for policymaker. Drawing on the range of policy measure including employment protection. Second is regulation affecting working hour and part-time contract. Okay, other important aspect including regulation affecting working hour and part-time contract, as well as policy affecting wage setting and safety net, which mean this help to in changing the economy development. One of the suggestion to solve the problem of older employees and reduce discrimination against this group, giving flexibility to those who need depending on the age level. Older employee might be prefer flexible hour or shortened week for worker, like that. Third is regulatory system should encourage and support ethical behavior by all participants. Okay, this is a regulatory system should encourage and support ethical behavior by all participants, such as a regulator, trader, customer, security nurse, and stakeholder. It should adopt the right culture, incentive, and action that support and do not hinder effort by individual and organization to behave ethically. For example, the enforcement strategies and practice the regulator, prospector, and court, which as well a business internally. Okay, we continue. It is essential to promote and recognize business commitment without any discrimination and inequalities toward the age, gender, health issue, and the ethical approach. Likewise, there is must encourage employee to hold retirement age person and to hire young people and disabled people actively. Employer need to hold retirement age person, especially the worker with higher human capital such as higher knowledge, experience, and etc. They are favorable in the economic development as the most senior and mentor to new worker. Young people are very energetic and their contribution are the key role to the economic growth in the further, as well as the disabled people. Okay, next is opportunity to all labor participants should not neglect with disabled people. Economy should not neglect with the disabled people. Although they have disability, doesn't mean they could not be employed and provide something to the economic development. Not all disability are burdensome, yet in the inability, there are hidden capabilities that will advantage to the economy. And the last, assist to the development. Okay, for the disabled people, we must given the assistance to develop of small and medium. If they doing a business, there is a need to assist in training or investment in term of capital model and economy model into the development of small and medium business. For example, business conducted by youth and disabled people. With the assistance, it will encourage them to enhance them business internationally. It is necessary to increase the quotes in small and medium enterprises for disabled people. This situation then give more opportunities to employ disabled people. In result, this will increase supply and demand for labor in the labor market, which means the reduce of employment rate and then boosting the gross domestic product of a country. Okay, that's all. Thank you.
In the background of divergent demographic problems in the world, there are highly relevant issues,
such as youth unemployment, disparity in wages between men and women, socialization, employment, and accessible environment for people with disabilities. From the articles, these groups of people will be a necessary additional labor in conditions of labor shortage in developed countries, which is also will solve problems of inequality and discrimination in the labor market.
Thus, to solve this problem, it is necessary for Russia especially
Important measures, which is increased control of legislation, enforcement in the prevention of any type of discrimination in the labor market, equalize of the retirement age for men and women, and expansion of the use of non-standard working hours and non-standard workplaces. Regulation of such practices and encourage employers to hold retirement age persons, and to hire young people and disabled people actively, and assistance to the development of small and medium businesses, as well as self-employment. And last but not least, use professional orientation training programs, advanced training and retraining, especially for people with high risk of unemployment.
In conclusion, Russia indeed facing the low fertility rate and aging population.
Reducing the impact of negative demographic trends within the restriction of the labor market can be conceivable due to growth of labor productivity in all sectors of the economy, modernization and technological renewal of production, increasing the capital-labor ratio, technology innovation, innovation of physical capital, and also due to development of human capital, such as training and retraining, improvement the quality of education, improvement in index of population's health, which is particularly among children and young people. So that it is necessary to have an effective usage of involved human resources to have a rational immigration policy.
Which will reduce tension in the labor market.
Discrimination in the labor market based on sex, age, and state of health within possible labor supply reduction can adversely affect economic performance of the state. Thus, it is essential to take actions to diminish inequalities and increase the number of employees of social groups. Reducing of inequality rate will increase quality of life and business activity, even reduce unemployment rate and social differentiation.
That is all from us. Thank you.